Sam Altman has announced that Peter Steinberger who's the creator of OpenClaw, will be joining OpenAI in potentially a way to incorporate OpenClaw in ChatGPT. Peter Steinberger joining OpenAI to drive the next generation of personal agents. So we don't really know what this entails just yet, to be fair. OpenClaw will live in a foundation as an open source project that OpenAI will continue to support. So they were already supporting it, presumably from this announcement here. So great news for Peter Steinberger. I checked out this interview with Lex Friedman, where he talks quite a lot about the decision, because he goes on to describe that he had so many offers from all the major labs when it comes to hiring him, and it was a tough choice. But he doesn't announce it in this video, but he said that that Meta and OpenAI were the two people that he was considering, which is interesting. Maybe from a personal morale perspective, if you didn't know, the journey of Claude which is what it was originally called, got a cease and desist letter from Anthropic because, there's a part of me that agrees, part of me that kind of disagrees completely, because you've got open code, you've got now OpenClaw. These, are people getting confused with these because they're OpenAI? I don't know. However, I did feel like the video that I made about OpenClaw, or Claudebot as it was at that point, I did have to say, and it did confuse me, what has this got to do with Anthropic? What's the ties? Like, I was looking for these ties that just did not exist. And again, from this interview with Lex Friedman, he talks about how his V1 of this was based on he bought like $100 subscription plan to Anthropic and gave it to his friend so that he could use it. And that was the first time he saw someone else and it was like, holy shit, this is a big deal. So the name did come from the fact that it was Anthropic related. It was part of the intentional ecosystem that it gave birth to, basically. Doesn't really matter. That all being said, he went with OpenAI, and he says one of the things that he wanted to maintain or ensure is that OpenClaw remains open source. Does this mean that Meta wanted to not make it closed source, but own OpenClaw? I don't know. However, that was the main thing he wanted to keep, that OpenClaw is open source, and it's part of a foundation. It will be continued to support. A lot of people are saying now that it's downhill. We don't know what the future is, and I'm not necessarily going to speak to those things, but I have faith that actually it will remain an open source project. And you said that he's actually looking to maybe not hire. Maybe you can tell us about that.
I'm looking for OpenClaw maintainers. If you love open source, have experience with running larger projects, are security minded, and want to help, drop me an email. So he's looking for somebody. He said also in that interview, a lot of people are trying to help, with pull requests. And he says, like, these are prompt requests for a lot of people. It's just like people who don't know coding, but he finds it valuable still for people like us, like me, haven't done pull requests yet, to do it. Sometimes just do it with AI, still like, starting to do it, which is interesting. And now he's looking for somebody more serious, somebody who can help. And apparently a lot of people are DMing and replying here. He's saying, like, send me the email. But yeah, the project, I also saw that he's getting updates. Now you can like trigger it from your Apple Watch, so it's moving really fast.
And more importantly, I was going to mention as well, these updates, like they're working with a lot of security is obviously the biggest thing that's the worry. And what I noticed, that if you go to Claude Hub, you'll see that there is actually security scans that are happening on everything, vulnerability checks. With every update, there are vulnerability patches and fixes. And if you go to browse, hide suspicious even, I mean, that's a minor feature, but the point is it's a lot of security updates that are going into this thing. So I'm excited about it. And I wonder as well, on a lot of my videos, everyone's like rejecting this tool because they assumed it's going to hack you, or they hear that it's going to hack you. It's not happened yet, you know. And it's not to say it is still an open source single person vibe code. It's not to say that we freaking don't know that there's risks involved, but it's good to hear that nothing has happened thus far. So yeah.
Another thing that I found really cool from his interview was that he managed to move really fast, even though at the start he was like just playing around with it and just like feeling how it is and maybe sharing it with friends, or like he said, he mentioned he used it while traveling. But once it gained traction, he managed to make updates, to add like Discord, to add like Telegram, to add so much more. He managed to keep up and like basically help with the project growing. And he also mentioned how hard it was to basically, he didn't sleep much because it exploded. They have like 300K plus followers on Twitter. It's crazy. Like the amount of interest that he's getting is insane.
And that's where you start to panic about the vulnerabilities of your application, because you can, you know, I won't lie and say, like, when I release something, there's always that thing in the back of your mind. It's like, have I, you know, it's nerve-wracking, like releasing something out there, because there are people a lot smarter than you and a lot more malicious than you who will try and take down. And what if you've accidentally left something in there? You know, no one is perfect. And when you get successful very, very quickly in any walk of life, when you get that many eyeballs on you, you feel exposed, you feel naked, you feel vulnerable. So I can only imagine the amount of emotional trauma he probably went through, and he's held up pretty well. He seems like a really chilled out, nice, well-meaning guy.
So there was also a conversation about him leaving EU, because as you know, he is Austrian, and he had this interview. I think this is, I don't know, this is an Austrian TV media, whatever, and it was painful to watch. I watched it. I don't want to play this because of copyright. I don't know how it is with non-YouTube stuff. But yeah, this interview was extremely painful for me to watch, because the entire time there is no, like, even a single like interest in what can this technology do. Everything is what can it destroy. The whole focus is on how bad this could go, and not on what could it also do right. And he's holding up really well. He's very chill, and he's just explaining the nature of things, like how AI can hallucinate, how AI can be, you know, everything that we know about AI that can go wrong. We know it. It's nothing new. But it seems like in the EU, they cannot shift their focus away from that, and it's stuck. Like the EU is stuck in that point. So here he answered, let me just show the translation, it's easier. Well, starting with this one, it says like Peter had this interview and he's going to OpenAI. Why couldn't EU not hold him, this talent? Why it wasn't about money for him, obviously, right? That's the tweet. And he answers, he says, in the USA, most people are enthusiastic. In Europe, I get insulted. People scream regulation and responsibility. And if I really build a company here, then I get to struggle with things like investment protection laws, employee co-determination, and paralyzing labor regulations. At OpenAI, most people work six, 7 days a week and get paid and get paid
How old are you?
accordingly. Yes, I know.
Flame him in the comments.
My younger brother, he's 18 and he shakes his head when I do this. 6, 7 days a week and get paid accordingly. With us, that's illegal, which is true, and it's very interesting. I understand. Okay, we need to be responsible, and regulations. I'm not necessarily against them, but I believe we have too many of them. Like, you cannot do any. And I've seen this with my own eyes times and times again. I've been living in Germany for 10 years. I see many people trying to start a business. They get stuck at even the footer notes that they have to make for their websites, and all the cookies and all the protection laws, and they can't even start focus on their business and service and learning, because the law is just insane. Anyway, so there is a conversation around that, and it's, it is what it is. Europe obviously is not able to have somebody like him, which is sad in a way. I mean, yeah, this is another tweet that I found interesting. As most of you know, I'm from Germany, so I was able to watch the entire interview with Peter Steinberger on Zeit im Bild. It was incredibly painful, yes. Not because of Peter's answer, but because the journalist questions, typically German, Austrian, almost exclusively revolved around whether we should be afraid of AI, whether data privacy is being protected, being respected, what dangers OpenClaw poses, and so on. Yeah, that was basically the whole interview. The hottest topic in the world was talked down. Instead of sparkling curiosity and enthusiasm among viewers, the program ultimately only stirred up more anxiety and resentment, a damning indictment of Europe. Which is, we see the result. He left. There is a balance.
Yeah, we do need to take it seriously, but there's no that you can do it in such a way, surely, where it's this is fantastic. Just having a balance of the good and the bad. Do you know what I mean? But I haven't seen the interview. I'd like to see the interview, but
it's in German, and I mean, I'm not native speaker, and he has an accent. I don't know if it's an Austrian accent, but it's the interview is pretty. You need to watch it, especially if you live in Europe or you care about the future of Europe. The next OpenAI won't happen in Europe. Just this interview just kind of shows the vibes around here.
This is part of a larger conversation on my show, Cmd+AI, which we stream live every single week. We discuss the news and all things related to AI in the world of design and web. Catch us next week and join in the banter.